Shalom.
Shalom. We have some testimonies tonight to tell.
Yes, really interesting ones, to say the least.
I think these are our favorite videos to do, is testimony videos.
Yeah, we have a lot of success and shalom, with Yahshua really has favored us, and he's showing us things every day, and how when we follow him, we get results. Mm-hmm. So, and
that's not something unique just to us.
Yes, that isn't.
This is something that's unique to every believer. Mm-hmm. If you look for the places in which Yahweh can give you shalom, and you start giving him credit, you'll start seeing his shalom in all kinds of things.
That's a good point, because a lot of the words we use today take away the shalom that Yahweh brings. For instance, coincidence. These two, what we would call coincidences that we're going to talk about today, were not coincidences, and they were Yahweh showing us that he is helping us through what he has done here. A lot of time we talk about idols, how in the olden days they would say this aspect of Yahweh belongs to this idol, and this idol has that power, and you're taking that power from Yahweh and you're saying, no, it goes over here to this idol, has that power, and not Yahweh. And when you do that, you are glorifying an idol. You're participating in idolatry, and you're not honoring Yahweh. So you are not going to get the results of Yahweh if you are subject to coincidence and luck, chance, fate, those kind of things. They're all to remove something from Yahweh and say, no, Yahweh doesn't have that. It belongs somewhere else.
And we've talked about this a lot. This is in several of our videos. And the reason we keep bringing it up is because we have to change our language. Is we've grown up in a culture that has taught us that these words are just the way it is.
Yes.
But what we're learning is that's not a true statement. Is these words are taking the worship that belongs to Yahweh and it's giving it to something else. Yeah,
giving it to the devils. And it's pretty. It's even in the Bible. I mean, when you call Yahweh a random God, you're taking away worship from him and giving it to some random God. Or when you use the word Jesus, you're taking what was a change from in the Geneva Bible, it's Isus, which is Hail Zeus, and then you're giving it to some formation of Zeus, some Jesus or something. I don't know what that is, but it's taking away the worship of Yahweh and giving it to the idols.
The reason we care about this so much is because ultimately what that's doing is it's making it so we don't have any gods.
Yes.
We're either creating so many gods nobody knows what to do with them, or we're taking away all gods and we're saying there is no God that can do anything for us. And that would mean you've eliminated even Yahweh, and people have then made themselves a god.
That's a good point, because what you're speaking of is the way they change, because lies don't have legs. So if it's a lie, it won't stand on its own. So they have to change meaning the evil one has to change the lie periodically. So in the olden days, everybody knew there was a God, and so that the demon gods said, oh, there's idols, and they would praise Smith. I was watching God in a Nutshell, and he said that the idols, behind the idols, the demons would hide, and then they would speak through the idol, behind the idol, to make it seem like the idol was alive. And that way people would worship the idols instead of Yahweh. But now it's been kind of changed. The devil is moving tactics because, they moved from idols, now they're moving to there's no God. So if there's no God, then we need to make lies that say there's no God, like There's many in this world that tell you that there's no God.
They've pretty much been doing since like the 40s.
Yeah, reprogramming our language, what we see on TV. Even some of the stuff in the church gets changed because, they buy into the science propaganda to change these things so that they can move to their next phase of their life, because once their truth is found out, they have to switch to something else. For instance, they call them idols and demons before and fallen angels. Now they call them aliens. So it's the same thing. It's the same lie over and over again. It's just a change of name. They used to call them idols, then they were mythical gods, and now they don't exist anymore. Now they're aliens. So that's right. The lie changes. That's how you know it's not truth.
So this is all a precursor to lead up to the scripture that we want to deal with tonight is Ephesians 6:12. And we've heard this scripture many times, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right? Mm-hmm. But we went through the Strongs and we looked at, well, what do some of these words mean? And what we discovered is that the depth of these words are really talking about all the things that we just described. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we'll hear these scriptures in churches or in a teaching, and we won't fully understand what it is that it's saying. So let's listen to this and see if this gives us a new perspective. Ephesians 6:12. And so we just took the King James Version and we added in the deeper words from the Strongs. So you can, if you go to your Strong's Concordance, you can find these words. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, meaning mortality, human beings, right? But against superhuman delegated influence of chiefs, against force capacity, against the world rulers of the obscurity, which is basically like a stand-in for the devil. Against the world rulers of the obscurity of this perpetuity, and against non-carnal depravity in the sky.
Wow.
So
that says a lot.
And I'm like intentionally reading it slow so that these words can kind of sink in, because the first time that you read it, you're like, what does that actually mean? When we look at the first one, is superhuman delegated influence of chiefs. That's the definition of principalities. Wow. Wow. And normally when I'm in a service and people are talking about this and they're trying to explain it, they talk about principalities as some like fallen angel that you can't see that's in charge of an area. Mm-hmm. Well, that's really not what this says. A superhuman, if you took it by itself, you could think about angels or demons, right? But it's a superhuman delegated influence, right? Of chiefs.
Is the superhuman delegating that influence to somebody, a chief?
That's certainly what it sounds like. Mm-hmm. Is something else is talking to the chiefs that is not human. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, well, what isn't human, right? It's definitely not an animal.
Messengers and fallen angels, messengers and
demons.
Demons, yeah.
Right? So it's somebody who's in a position of power, and they're being communicated to by something that we can't normally see. Mm-hmm. And then when it says force capacities, that's the word for powers. Well, force capacity does mean power, but force capacity can also mean light realm power, dark realm power. It doesn't have to just mean your own physical strength. Mm-hmm. So we're fighting against a strength of something. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then world rulers. But it doesn't just stop with world rulers. It says world rulers of the obscurity, which was the word darkness, right?
And that's an epith of Satan.
An epith of Satan. So we had to go look that word up because we're like, well, what does that mean? And it's basically someone who's the mouthpiece for the devil.
Oh, so it's somebody that's going to be controlled by the devil in high place. Oh, okay.
And so that one's kind of interesting because it's not just world rulers, but it's saying world rulers
that are controlled by the devil.
Controlled by the devil, but in the darkness, in the obscurity.
Oh, okay. So they're not up front. We don't see them.
Maybe, or maybe it's talking about how what we think of as this world is, it says of this perpetuity. It doesn't actually say world. And perpetuity is a word that means something that continues on indefinitely.
Okay.
Or for eternity. Mm-hmm. So that would kind of give me the indication is that they're rulers of the obscurity that continue on forever of this obscurity.
Oh, okay.
So those sound like people that would be thrown into utter darkness to the lake of fire at the end of the age.
Got it, okay.
At the end of everything, whatever that ends up looking like. We don't want to get into eschatology right now. So that's not just like your president.
Mm-mm.
And
it's like the people that control the president.
Right. It's like talking about what's behind those rulers. Mm-hmm. And if they're in partnership with the obscurity, then that thing is what we're fighting against, not the person that is sitting in the chair.
Yes. Okay.
And that's really important because a lot of times the person who's talking, the person who is the mouthpiece, is the one that everybody wants to point to and blame. Mm-hmm. But you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. And that's what our prayers are doing, is fighting against the thing that's behind the scenes that you can't see.
That's right, yeah.
Because we want all people saved. Because a lot of people are prisoners of war, and they don't even know they're a prisoner of war. Mm-hmm. And, they've been going along doing their thing. They think they're good with their Jesus, but they're really being controlled by a demon.
Yeah.
And they have no idea.
Yeah.
And so those are the people, and they might be in charge of something. They could be in charge of something really important. They could be in charge of a country. They could be in charge of a church. Mm-hmm. Though that's why the scripture says, pray for your leaders. Mm-hmm. Because those are the people that the devil's going to go after.
Yes, they will.
Because they have such influence over people. They have a lot of delegated power.
Yep.
And that can come with force capacity. Because if you're in charge of a country like America, you got a pretty big force capacity that you're in charge of.
And there's definitely evil would want to creep in, for sure.
For sure, evil would want to keep in.
We've seen it in the churches all along, where a pastor will fall out of, into adultery, and then the church falls apart.
Right, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And so those are the things that are happening behind the scenes, are these forces of obscurity that people aren't seeing. And we're not praying against it like we should as the body of Yahshua, because we don't understand what some of these words mean and what's happening behind the scenes. And then this last one is, and against non-carnal depravity in the sky. And that said, spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay, I just have to say, whoever translated the King James Version, you did a pretty crummy job on this one. I know there's a lot of sarcasm there, but this kind of stinks.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that kind of stinks when you actually get into the Strongs. It's actually more fun to read the Bible. You find these little nuggets where you're like, whoa, that says this, and you're like, wow, that's incredible. That's way better than what the Bible
the text says.
Yes, the text says.
Being one of those people who grew up reading the King James, I was kind of shocked when I found the depth of some of these things, because I was told that the way it was translated in English was the inspired word of Yahweh. Well, that's just not true.
Yeah, that can't be true because they translated it in Greek first, and Greek is, all the words in Greek are pretty much demon gods.
Yeah.
Like the word translation is Hermes, Hermesios or something like that. Comes from Hermes, the god with the
Wings on his shoes.
And Theos is another random god.
Well, Theos just means God. That's it. That's all it means.
Yeah, just some sort of god, a random god,
Yeah. And so, like, I'm not saying that Yahweh didn't inspire the original written word that was penned down by the people that wrote it. Because that's 100% true. Because there's no way this stuff could all come together the way it does between all these different books and from all these different people over thousands of years. That in and of itself is a miracle.
It is, yeah.
That they correlate to each other and that prophecies came true and this one talked about that one. And especially when the written form of communication changed so much.
Yep.
Right? I mean, from pictographic to hieroglyphics to the kind of letters we have in English today. You have the box lettering in there. You have this like really fancy lettering in the Far East. Like, so there's all kinds of different types of script. There's things that correlate before writing was even really like permanent. And so when history was audible, when it was just storytelling, and it still comes into the scripture.
Yep.
So definitely Yahweh has a huge hand to play in what was the original text. It's just, how do we get back to the original text? That's really what we're trying to figure out, is how do we get the closest thing back to what it originally said? Because it definitely wasn't written in English.
No, it definitely wasn't.
The English we have today is not what it was written in.
Yeah, and that's sometimes why we go back to the older, dictionaries, because when you have older dictionaries, you get a less modern translation.
Yeah.
So,
it helps us understand what could they have been thinking at the time.
yeah, it also gives you the root words of things. So you learn, like, for instance, the prefix dis means demon, god, trickery, or malevolent, or no. Any word with a vowel at the front of it means no, has a negative connotation. So things like that you learn. And you find out that some of these words probably there's a malevolent reason for these words being introduced into our vocabulary.
And that's one of the reasons why we're picking on words so much, is because we know we have a devil.
Yeah.
And what better book to play with than the Bible?
Yes, that's true.
Like, honestly, the adversary wants us all dead.
Yep.
And the adversary wants to hurt anything that Yahweh loves. So the adversary is going to play with the thing that reveals who Yahweh is.
That's right. Yep.
And so, of course, translations are not going to be as good as they should be, because the devil's playing with them. Because he wants us confused. He wants us lost, and he wants to steal everything with us, and then he will kill us. Right? That's his MO. But here's the thing that we have to learn is Yahweh gave us the best cheat code ever. He put himself on the inside of us.
The Ruach HaKodesh. That's right.
Like,
that is a fabulous cheat code.
That is the best cheat code ever.
Yes, I concur.
That what Yahshua did opened the way for the Ruach HaKodesh to get inside of us. And now, even if we couldn't get to the scripture of the Bible, we could know the truth. And that seems completely crazy to say. But even Yahshua said, if you won't cry out for me,
the rocks will cry out.
Yes. You see, even the rocks will cry out.
Yep.
Right? So all of creation cries out that there is a Yahweh. And we miss that sometimes.
We
get
absolutely do.
so wrapped up in the text. We get so wrapped up in teaching. We get wrapped up in all these knowledge-based things, and we miss the fact that just creation itself cries out that there's a Yahweh. Mm-hmm. Just look at your own body. Your own body cries out that there's a Yahweh. Mm-hmm. And so, anyways, getting back to the text that we were looking at here in Ephesians 6, the last part of this scripture, of verse 12. Yeah, the last part of this scripture, verse 12, it says, and against non-carnal depravity in the sky. So this very obviously is talking about the fallen angels. Mm-hmm. Because it's in the sky. Like, where do you think they are? They got cast down out of heaven to the earth. Where do you think they are? Like, they're in the sky. The air around you is part of the sky. Like, if you're not on the soil, you're in the sky. Okay, there's my little humor for the day. And they're not carnal. They're not flesh and blood. They're not carbon material like people are. They're non-carnal, and they are definitely full of depravity.
Yeah, yes, they are.
Like, which is a word that means just like sheer evil. Mm-hmm. Yep. It is wickedness, but it's way more than wickedness. It's like the worst thing you could think of, and then keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just complete and absolute evil, right? So this scripture is actually a spectacular scripture because it's telling you you're not fighting against people whatsoever.
Yep. That's right.
There's all these things, all these unseen forces behind the scenes of people that are affecting everything around you.
Yeah.
And they're not just affecting people. They're affecting your stuff. They're affecting your houses. They're affecting
your equipment,
your finances, your possessions, right?
Yep.
And so this is the reason why we're bringing it up, is because a lot of times when we think about life, we don't realize what we're struggling with.
Yeah. We tend to think that physical things are not in the same category as spiritual things or light realm things. Or we think that, the devils can affect us, but they can't affect anything else. Right.
But your example was like perfect for this story, is your example of how the demons would stand behind idols and talk.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? It would look like the idols talking. Mm-hmm. That's something that you would consider as an inanimate object.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's talking. But its mouth isn't moving, so that should confuse you.
Yep. Yep.
Right? But it's like perfect for the story that we're talking about, is the whole setup of this initial intro to the testimony is so that we realize that there are forces behind everything.
Everything. Your family, your friends, even you, if you're in partnership with something, even, and they affect everything in your life. They are the reason we have the word accidents. Because there are no accidents, they are purposes. And the demons afflict people or things to give for a purpose to cause an accident. And there's many stories of pastors or preachers that talk about how they were afflicted by demons and got into a car accident because they didn't listen to the Ruach HaKodesh. Now, I'm not saying I have done that myself. So I'm not immune.
Forget to listen.
Yes, I am not immune. If you listen to our Yahweh Go story about the motorhome, you'll understand that, yes, we can get frustrated. And I actually was frustrated at several points in this story. But we worked through it. And, the first story that I'm going to tell is about, I run a business and I have mechanical equipment, CNC, where I machine things. And my CNC was acting up. So we do what we do with everything else. We do the 1, 2, 3s. We prayed over it. We wrote scripture on it. We cast out demons, whatever else, and nothing seemed to work. And
can I interject for 1 minute? Because I think it's really funny that you let me write scripture on things now. Yeah. Because the first time you saw me do it was when we went to go look at my RV. And we'd been talking about putting the blue painter's tape on things and writing on it new names and declarations and stuff. And when we went to my RV the first time, you're like, I think you should rename it. And so I took my permanent marker and I wrote on the outside of the RV, not on tape, just on the RV. And Eric was like, well, I wasn't expecting you to actually write on it.
Yep.
The funny thing is now we write on a lot of things.
Yeah, air conditioning units, water purifiers, our inlet pipe to our house. And it really does change because you are using your dominion over this place to address a problem or something or prevent a problem that this thing has. So to get back to my story, I was frustrated. So the next day I was out working on the tool to see how I could get ready and, get to a point where I could do something, and it just wasn't working. So I'm out there, I'm standing in front of the tool, and I said, I probably said something to the Yahweh. I don't really remember what I did, but I was just standing there, and then I gave it one more try, and it kicked on, and it started working. I'm like, ooh, what's going on here? So I was like, all right, I am going to go use this machine because I really need to work with it. So I go in the house, and lo and behold, we had been dealing with a personal issue, and the person that we were dealing with a personal issue with it here. And I walked in and said hi, and the personal issue was that the person was being afflicted by demons, and we were trying to help them. I could tell that the demons came back. We had kicked out the demons before in this person, and the demons had come back, and they had come back stronger because the person didn't spend the time with Yahweh.
Because remember, if you clean the house, you sweep it clean, and you'll find this in the scripture, sweep it clean, but you don't fill the house, then the demon that got kicked out will come back with 7 more of its friends.
Yes.
And the thing you fill the house with is not your own thoughts. No. It's Ruach HaKodesh.
Yes.
You have to get the scripture inside of you.
Yes.
And this is one of the things that people don't always understand is that everybody wants deliverance. Everybody says, oh, pray for me so that I can get free of this demon. But then they don't go do the work to fill their house. They
don't change their behavior. They don't build a relationship with the Ruach HaKodesh or Yahweh. They don't do any of that.
And that's so vitally important.
It is.
It doesn't matter what you've been afflicted with or what you've been dealing with. If you remove a demon from your life, you have to replace it with Yahshua. And you have to get deeper. As Andrew Womack says, if you don't, the devil's going to eat your lunch and pop the bag too. And I think that's just a hilarious statement because it's totally like dealing with a bully. They're going to pick on you and irritate you and come after you because they know you didn't fill your house.
Yep.
Because you look different in the spirit realm. You don't see things in your physical flesh the way things are seen in the spirit realm. Because if you could see them the same, you would see the demon standing behind the thing. Right? You would see the demon standing behind the idol in the story you told, right? You would see the demon that's sitting there pushing the error button on your machine over and over and over.
Yeah. It's funny because I could see the demon in the person that we were talking to. I mean, the mini demons. It was like a circle. When when cartoons and when you were a kid, you watch and somebody hit you with a bat and birds would fly out. That's the vision that came to my head was these things just circling this person. And Yahweh says to me, well, your demon head was put on assignment somewhere else. And I started laughing. I was like, oh, well, that's great. My CNC works now, and I'm just going to go use it. So that problem went away when that person that was being afflicted needed an extra demon to be afflicted to keep them away from getting more deliverance. So the demon that was on assignment on my CNC took off and went to the person that was being afflicted. So it was mixed results. I was happy my CNC worked, but I wish the person would have got full deliverance. But you really got to build a relationship with Yahweh to get full deliverance.
Well, and don't get us wrong. We definitely tried.
Oh, we tried. Yes.
Like, don't take this story to say, oh, we left the poor person afflicted. No, that's not the case at all, because we did everything we could do to set this person free. Yeah,
the person basically ran away from any deliverance from us.
Yeah,
they couldn't even stand to be around us, and that was the demon was distracting them so powerfully that we couldn't even talk to the person. They were so demonically attacked by the demons that were spinning around the head. For a visual, that's the visual that I got. We're just circling them and just going attacking.
And we have power over all of these spiritual forces, right? We absolutely have power over them. Luke 10:19, and nothing by any means shall hurt us. But remember, the one thing we didn't get dominion over is other people's free will.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you can't cast a demon out. I'm saying the other person has the right to invite him back.
Yes.
A lot of times we're not sure what's happening in a situation, and we think, oh, maybe I didn't do it right, or maybe I don't have enough power, or I didn't use the right scripture, and we come up with all these ideas, but we forget about the fact that people that are living have free will.
Yeah.
They have free will, and if they choose to invite the demons back in, you could stay, if we wanted to play like a game, you could stand there and keep kicking the demon out, right? But eventually... But
if they go collect 7 demons every time, then it's going to get worse and worse every single time.
It would just keep getting worse. Leave a person in a situation because you don't want to have the opportunity for them to invite 7 more. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you got to let Ruach HaKodesh guide you through the situations, because there are different situations that are happening at different times. And, personal life examples cannot be the standard. Mm-hmm. The scripture has to be our standard.
Yep.
Yahshua has to be our standard, not our own personal experiences. And so this is something that happened at this particular time. And there's a whole lot of factors that are around it. So don't take this and turn it into a doctrine or something. No. That's really what, I want to make sure that we don't express something that somebody's going to then, say, oh, well, Charity and Eric said, listen to the whole story.
Yeah, it's our experience. We're sharing experiences because Yahweh teaches us through experience. And this was a great experience for us to realize that demons afflict things.
Yeah, not just people.
What we call inanimate objects, they afflict. Yes.
Yeah. And that was a great lesson for us, because we kind of understood this before, but now we got to see it.
Yeah.
We got to actually see it, and we knew that it was a demon that had been afflicting the machine.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, definitely. It was incredible. After that, it ran good. There was a couple times we had to cast out the demon again, but once we had realized that it 100% was a demon, we're like, oh, it's got to go. And it was from that point on that particular machine, it was really easy to get the demon out of it. And I was using it today.
And anytime the demon would come back and try to afflict the machine, we're like, oh no, we know who you are.
Yeah. We'd go read the scripture we wrote on it. We would go down and write some more on it, do the 1, 2, 3s of reading the Psalms, and asking Ruach HaKodesh what to read over it, and then usually it's Psalms, and then doing this 13 and 14. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Watch and see the deliverance of your Yahweh.
Yes.
We even had one time that the demon was being very pestering, and we're like, oh, Eric came and got me, and he's like, well, I think we need to do something else because I can't work on my machine. And I was like, no, that means it's time to pull out the Weast and let's go read scripture over it. And I think we sat in the garage for a half an hour praying scripture over this machine, and it finally started to work.
Yep.
And we didn't do anything else. We didn't go turn it on and off 100 times.
No.
We didn't replace any gizmos or gadgets on the machine. Like, all right, charity lingo. You know, I'm not a mechanical person.
We didn't replace any relays for the technical people on there. No relay replacement, no contactor replacement, no rewiring.
Yeah, we didn't do any of that.
Controllers or anything like that. Yeah.
We literally sat on a stool and read scripture.
Yeah.
For like a half an hour. And then all of a sudden the light turned green. I was like, well, there you go. Go back to work. Let me go back to work.
I went back to work, finished my project.
It's been a very interesting game with this because it is kind of like a game. Like every time the demon comes back, we're like, oh, no, we know who you are.
Yeah.
And we have authority over you. You got to go.
Yep.
And so there's some things we can learn from this because it's like the persistence too, right? Is not only do we know what it is, now we have to be persistent. And every time the thing shows up and say, no, I said no, the answer is still no. You don't get to be here. And sometimes I think in our own selves, we're a little lazy.
We are.
And we don't have the grit, and which is another way of saying persistence, right? Is we don't have the grit to stick it out and stand up to these demons and tell them no means no forever, permanently, and it's never going to turn into a yes.
Yeah.
And I think about, like, the image that comes to my mind when I say that is the Black Angus cows when I was little. And you would put up fencing, put up barbed wire fencing, put up electric fencing, put up all kinds of things to keep these cows in a pen. And it didn't matter how much you tried to do to keep them in. They were like the most persistent, stubborn thing ever. And they would constantly push against the fence to see if there would be any hole that would allow them to get out of the fence. And the grass was the same on both sides of the fence.
They want it out.
But they want it on the other side of the fence, to the point, sometimes if the electric fence went down, we'd find the cows tangled in the barbed wire fence because they'd push through to the point even of ripping their own skin.
That's pretty persistent.
That's persistent, man. That's persistent. Is they're like, I'm not being locked up. I'm getting out. Whatever it takes, I'm getting out, right? And then they're stuck in the fence because they can't get out of the fence.
That's funny.
Right? But I tell that story is because where's our grit when it comes to standing up to the devils? These demons and devils, they're disembodied spirits. We've been taught to give them way too much power.
We have.
And they don't have any power. All they have is a thought. All they can do is irritate you by thoughts, right? And move things around that you might think are inanimate objects. But
poke things and afflict
things, give you fake visions, give you memories that aren't real, tell you that something happened that didn't really happen.
Yep.
This persistence is something that we need to have. Is when you say no, you need to actually mean no. Let your yes be yes and your no be no, and stand on that and continue to stay standing on it.
And this is the second story we're going to talk about. When we were out of town once, and our water heater turned off, and we had a guest staying here, and the guest had said the water heater was off. Luckily, it was summer in Arizona, so you just got to take a shower in the evening because the water's 100 degrees coming into the house.
So the water never gets cold is really what he's saying.
You get in Arizona in the summertime, you get hot water on the left and hot water on the right. It's amusing. But anyway, the person was taking showers in the morning. We told them to switch to the night, and then we prayed. When we got home, that water heater started working again. We're like, wow, that's fabulous. So
and we didn't do anything.
We didn't do anything. We just prayed. We kicked the demon out and prayed, and it started working. Well, it was about 6 months later, it did the same thing again. And we knew we could kick the demon out, so we prayed and kicked the demon out, and it never worked. So it was going on for about 2 weeks. And finally, I was like, well, I'm at least going to take a look. Maybe there's a a rock caught in a sensor or something like that. So I pulled it apart and it was a fiasco. I lost some parts.
You lost parts?
Yeah, it went flying across the room, and I found it. That was twice. I'm trying to get a C-clip in a connector that holds the sensor in there, and they went flying across the room. I asked Rock HaKodesh, show me where it was, and the Rock HaKodesh showed me where it was. The second time, I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And I said, it went. I heard it bounce off a few things, and I'm like, I'm too frustrated to do anything, and I need some time with Yahweh to clear my head, because I didn't want to have the same incident that I did last time where I got frustrated and
didn't listen.
Yeah, I didn't listen. So I put it back together without the internal parts, which is really strange because
you're missing pieces.
I'm missing pieces, and
that's really funny because you didn't tell me that part of the story.
I didn't tell you that. I just put it back together. I'm like, well, I'm going to order some parts online and I'll get it fixed when I can, So I put it back together, turned the water heater on, and then I had to go help my parents out. And
so you still hadn't put the pieces in when you went to your mom's house?
No.
Oh, that's even funnier.
No, I didn't do anything. I just left. I didn't even tell her that I was the hot water heater wasn't working still, and I just said, all right, I'm too frustrated to talk about it. I'm just going to go. So I had to go take care of some business to my parents' house. And that night I went to sleep, and I woke up. I had started the dishwasher, and I woke up to the dishwasher alarm, and I got up and I looked at it and I turned off the alarm, went back to bed. And the next day I was talking to Charity, and you had said that you were here because you were working on videos and trying to get some things edited.
Yeah, so let me jump in, right?
Yeah.
Because this is super funny, because I didn't know that you took anything apart on the hot water heater, and so I'm finding that even more funny.
That is really funny.
Because I stayed home while he went to his mom's house.
Yep.
And because I was working on our declarations video that just came out. If you haven't watched it, listen to it, because it is so spectacular. And it took a lot of work to get that done. And, when you're creating some of these videos, the work that goes in behind the scenes makes you have to really study and have to go through it a lot. So this was like my third day of video editing. And so I could pretty much repeat the declarations to you by memory at this point, right? Which is good, because you want to brainwash yourself with the declarations,
yes.
For real. And I'm intentionally using that word because Ruach HaKodesh knows the truth. Your brain is the one that's the problem. You have to renew your mind to the scripture. And that's what the declarations do, is renew your mind to the scripture. And so it's 1:30 in the morning, and I finally quit working, and I'm done, right? I'm so excited. I'm done. I got it loaded up to YouTube, and I was like, wow, this is just so awesome. I was just so thrilled. And I'm like, okay, I gotta go to bed. I'm so tired. I can barely keep my eyes open. But then I look at the clock and I'm like, I really should take a shower. It's been a while since I took a shower. And then this thought came into my head and said, but it's going to be a cold shower. And I turned around. I'm standing in the bathroom, right? I turned around and said, absolutely not. You will work. I am taking the hottest shower I can handle. The thought that had come through my head did not come out of my mouth. All that came out of my mouth is, you will work, and I will have the hottest shower I can handle. So I'm like, oh, but it takes a while for the hot water heater to heat up, because it's one of those on-demand heaters that don't heat up real fast. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to turn it on, let it heat up, steam up the room, because I'm a little chilly already. I want a hot shower. And so I'm playing with my phone while it's heating up, and I noticed that the internet went down, and I just started laughing. And I'm looking at my phone and I go, well, it's too late, devil. I already got it loaded. And I'm like super sassy at this point. I'm like, devils, you're trying to do whatever you want to do, but it ain't going to work because we already took our dominion. You can't stop this. This is perfect and this is amazing. And it's going to set so many people free. And everything you tried to do has just failed. It's just fallen to the ground now. And so I'm just praising Yahweh at this point. And so I go get in the shower and I'm like, oh, that's really hot. And I like hot water because I grew up in the north where, in the wintertime, you really want hot water.
Yeah. It's coming into the house at like 65 degrees. It's not anything you want to take a bath in.
In the north?
No, here, right now, in the wintertime.
Yeah, 65 here. But I grew up where the water comes out of the ground at like ice cold. Yeah. Refrigerator cold. It's not frozen, but it's like refrigerator cold.
Yeah, like 40 degrees or something.
Probably because it's a little above freezing,
Yeah, that's even...
Freezing's like 32, right?
Yeah, yep.
So it's not frozen water, but sometimes you feel like it's frozen water.
Yeah.
But so I had this like amazing hot shower and I was like, thank you, Yahweh, for fixing my hot water heater. This is awesome and so amazing. And I'm just so thrilled that these declarations are up. And so I'm just praising Yahweh. And here's the funny thing is then I was like getting ready for bed and I was feeling really weird, like anxious, but not scared, but like there was something going on. And like, I thought someone was in the house and I'm like, this is just weird. Like I'm normally really comfortable in my house. And I'm like on this high from these declarations. Like, I don't understand. That's really weird. And I pick up my phone and Eric's like sending me a message on my phone. And I'm like, why are you awake at like 2:00 in the morning? Yeah. And he calls me and I'm like, oh, you're the reason I'm anxious.
Yeah, there was a bobcat in the chicken coop and me and my brother-in-law were trying to get it out. Well, yeah. I did get scratched. I don't know if you can see it here. Looks a little minor, but the cat was killed two chickens, ate one, and was stuck in the chicken coop. And there was still live chickens in the chicken coop, so we were trying to get it out. That was an exhilarating night, to say the least.
So we had all kinds of things going on, right?
Yeah, when I saw that she was texting, I was like, hey, I got to tell you this story. So I told her about the event that the bobcat was in the chicken coop, and we were coaxing the bobcat out of the chicken coop. Maybe a little, and with some enthusiasm, so it would not return to the chicken coop. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I was she was telling me that she had taken a hot shower, and I'm like, really? You took a hot shower? And she's like, oh yeah, it was about this time. And I was like, really? I was like, really? You took a shower at this time? And I'm like thinking back, and I'm like, wait a second, that's the time I woke up to the alarm on the dishwasher. I was like, what's going on here? And then she tells me the story that she cast out the demon. I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, wait a second, that demon went right into my mom's dishwasher.
So then we had to kick the demon out of the dishwasher.
Yes. I talked to her today. The demon's gone, but it was very interesting.
Yeah.
So, this was a lesson from Yahweh to say that we can get afflicted by demons, and our things can get afflicted by demons. Mm-hmm. Things that are an assignment with you, they're assignment to you. When they can't afflict you, they go to the next level out. And who's that? Your family.
Mm-hmm. And your friends.
And your friends. So if your friends and family are acting anxious around you, or giving strange behavior, or your things are not working around you, it's probably because you've been targeted and the demon's on assignment. And if it can't affect you because you've got so much Ruach HaKodesh and Yeshua in you, then they go to the next level.
They're just trying to find ways to pester you.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just a pester game.
And it's kind of funny because when I told the water it was going to be hot, I didn't tell the demon where to go. I just commanded that the water was going to be
You should
hot.
have sent him to the pit of hell. Because then I had to deal with him.
which is why I was saying that, because it's funny, because normally I tell the demon where to go, but this time I was like, no, I'm taking a hot shower.
Yes.
And you are not going to be doing
Yes. Yeah, so we were sure to send him to the pit of hell this time.
And it's really funny. I find the story even more funny that you said you took apart part of the water heater and put it back together without part of its parts.
There's some stuff missing. A little not important.
And the water has been hot ever since.
Yeah, I took a hot shower today too. It was great.
Which
After
is just
2 weeks
so
of
funny.
cold showers, it felt really good.
So you don't even need all the parts to make it work.
You don't, apparently not. You just need Yahweh.
This is great.
Yep.
Wow, that's just spectacular.
It is. It is. It's amazing what you learn when you listen and trust Yahweh.
Yes. And we're learning all these things as we're going along, and we're sharing these things with you because as we learn, we want all of you to learn too. Because why would you keep it to yourself? When you learn the cheat code to how this world works, don't keep it to yourself. Tell everybody.
Yes.
And we all have these different experiences and these different things that happen. So something that you have happened to you might help another person in ways that you have yet to understand, because you don't know what other people are going through and what they're dealing with and how your story might help them.
Yeah.
So that's why we share these testimonies and even our own failures, because where we're learning, you can learn from us and not have to go through the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And because, you know, the persistence thing that we were talking about, it works in your machineries and your equipment and your possessions and stuff too. Because to tell a failure story, if you don't mind, is that when we don't care that much, then the demon can afflict something more than you expect, and you might have to do something. You might have to actually take an action then, because with the tractor, you ended up having to do some work on the tractor.
That's right. Yeah.
And because we didn't take the steps like we did with these other two situations of saying, no, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to cast out the demon.
Yeah. And with the tractor, I felt that it was a problem I'd been resolving by changing the filter, because I thought water was getting into the filter. And I went through that same action and it didn't work. And this time, because I didn't declare that it would work and take authority over it, I actually had to pull the tank out and dump some water out of it that had gelled up inside with some bacteria, and then
into the fuel tank.
Yeah.
But then the same day, the generator didn't seem to want to work.
Yeah.
And instead of declaring there being a problem over the generator, you declared it to work.
Yeah, I
and
declared
it
it to work.
started right away.
Yep. Yahweh said, pull it twice with the power off, and then pull it, and it'll start. And so I pulled it twice with the power off, and pulled it one more time, a third time with the switch and the fuel on, and it started right up.
So the reason we share that is because what you say first matters.
Yes.
It absolutely matters. And I'm pretty sure there's a video out there already about my bug story of when I got bit by a bug in India.
Yep.
And that's a great testimony of why your words matter.
They do matter.
Because,
Yahshua said that you ignored it.
Yeah, because when I first got bit by a bug in India, the first thing I said was, oh, it doesn't matter, it'll just heal up. And that allowed the insect bite to continue and to fester for 3 days until I finally got mad enough and I was like, no, you can't be on my body.
Yeah.
And then went after it, right? And Ruach HaKodesh restored my body, but it took 6 days then for my body to be restored. And so the whole thing took a total of 10 days, where it would have taken 1 day if I would have said from the very beginning, no, you cannot be on my body.
That's a good point, because I did the same thing when I hurt myself. I said, oh, Yahweh will take care of it. And it took 2 weeks. And then when I was praying, Yahweh said, did you ask? Did you command anything out? I said, no. And so I commanded it out and asked and said, deliver me, and jumped up and down on excruciating pain. Well, it wasn't totally excruciating, but it was painful when I was jumping up and down. I jump it up and down, and then it pain went away the next day, and I haven't had a reoccurrence of that problem at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the first thing you say matters so much.
It does, and it's also the very important thing, that the first thing you say, because when people proclaim something over you, whether if it's a curse or whether you say something that's bad, if someone proclaims something over you that's negative and you agree with it, you're coming into agreement with that curse. Mm-hmm. That first thing you say has to be to disagree with something, because we're in a spiritual realm. So the first thing you say has to be disagreement. So anybody tells you you're not delivered and you're not cured and you're not complete, you say, no, I am complete. I have been delivered and I am cured. Because it's a trick of the enemy.
And we do it without even realize that we're doing it sometimes, right? Because we think we're just saying what we see, right? That's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah. When you're at the doctor, don't come into agreement with anything he says. Says, nope, Yahweh delivered me.
Yeah, and it's hard because we're trying to talk about the facts, because we look at the facts and we're saying these are the facts and these are my issues. But, Andrew Womack said one time, he said, state the facts, but then followed up with the truth. Yeah. And Curry Blake says, why do I care about your facts when I know the truth?
Yeah, exactly.
And the reason I bring those two statements up is because we've got to get into our head that the truth is more important than your facts.
Yeah, because nothing by any means shall harm us, because we are covered with Yahshua, and we've got the Ruach HaKodesh in us, so nothing can harm us. Right. Nothing by any means shall hurt us.
And nothing means nothing.
It means nothing.
It really means nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got to see our Yahweh bigger than our problem.
Yeah.
And when you understand how big your Yahweh is, you understand you have no problems.
You have no problems. You only have solutions.
You only have solutions, yeah.
And Yahweh is the solution for everything. He wants to be your all, everything. He wants to be there for you everywhere, anytime, for everyone. And like when we started this conversation about how in the olden days they would take something from Yahweh and say it belongs to an idol. It's the same. Yahweh wants to give us everything. He's got everything for us. We don't need anything else. All we need is Yahweh.
If we then, instead of complaining about our facts, start praising our Yahweh, your praise becomes a weapon of war. And you're defeating the enemy because you're not even acknowledging him.
Yeah. Yep.
You're chasing the enemy out by bringing in the light. And the darkness cannot be in the light. The light chases away the darkness. And if we could remember that, it's hard sometimes because we're physical beings that are looking at physical things, and our brain gets distracted by all the things we've been taught. But you've got to overcome those strongholds in your mind and those traditions of men and say, no, my Yahweh said I was released to the curse. And be like the little kids. My grandson says, if I can't do it, Yahweh will give me a boost. Right? Like he's learning now from a really early age that sometimes you need a boost.
You do. Yeah.
Sometimes you need the leg up by Yahweh helping you out. And in a world where we can't see all of these force capacities and superhuman powers behind the mortal bodies and the carnal things that we look at around us, we need Yahweh's help in everything that we do. Because that's what's going to give us the boost, the leg up, the extra that we need to overcome this world, to be the more than conquerors that we were told that we are.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not being arrogant when you just start acknowledging who Yahweh said you are. The humility in that comes from you saying, I was nothing, but now I am everything that Yahweh said I am.
Yes.
And what you're doing is you're submitting yourself to Yahweh. You're submitting yourself underneath Yahweh. So your humility is the fact that you're saying, it's not me. I don't have anything to do with it. It's not my power. I didn't do anything to earn it. I didn't do anything to keep it. I'm just walking in it. Right?
That's right.
And that's what we need to remember is it's not you being arrogant of taking control over your situation. You're not stealing anything from Yahweh. You're actually making him proud of you because you're doing what he sent you to do. You weren't in a body first. You were with Yahweh first. And you came to live in this body because Yahweh sent you here to do something.
Yeah, and that was build a relationship with him. To come to know him, to come to trust in him, because this realm that we're in, we only see 16%. So who do we trust? The only thing we can trust is Yahweh.
Yeah, because if you have all these other forces around you that are trying to destroy you, and you can't see them, how could you survive?
How could you survive? And the way you survive is with the Ruach HaKodesh and Yahweh shaloming you.
So take your authority,
That's
use it, use the authority and the power that Yahshua HaMashiach gave you, and declare your truth over all your situations, whether it's your body, your family, your children, your friends, or even your shower.
That's right. That is so true.
Yep.
Well, shalom.
Shalom.
We'll see you next
we
time.
love you. Bye.
Bye.